Hey everyone, it's Miss Spencer. Today we're going to be reviewing multiplication, division, and adding and subtracting decimals. Let's start with multiplying. We're going to be multiplying 4 times 132. Remember, we're going to be multiplying by the ones place first, so we're going to be finding the product of 104 times 2. Start by multiplying the ones place times the ones place. So 2 times 4 is 8. Now we're going to multiply 2 ones times 0 tens, which is 0 tens. Lastly, we're going to be multiplying 2 ones times 100, which is 2 hundredths. So 104 times 2 is 208. Now we're going to be multiplying 104 times the 3, which is in the tens place. So 104 times 30. Because the 3 is in the tens place, and we're going to be really multiplying by 30, we're going to put a 0 in the ones place. Now we're going to multiply 3 tens times 4 ones, which is 12 tens, which is why the 2 goes in the tens place and the 1 is carried over to the hundreds place. 3 tens times 0 tens is 0 hundredths, plus 100 that we carried over is 100. 3 tens times 100 is 3,000, which is why the 3 is in the thousands place. Now we're going to be multiplying 104 times 100 because the 1 is in the hundreds place. We're going to be putting a 0 in the ones and the tens place so that when we multiply 100 times 4, we get 400, putting the 4 in the hundreds place. Notice we had crossed out that 1 at the very top because we already used it. Now we're going to be multiplying 100 times 0 tens, which is 0 thousands. Lastly, we're going to be multiplying 100 times 100, which is 1 10,000. Now that we've multiplied all the digits on the top by all the digits on the bottom, we can add all of our products together. Starting with the ones place, 8 plus 0 is 8 ones. 2 tens plus 0 tens plus 0 tens is 2 tens. 2 hundreds plus 100 is 300, plus 400 is 7 hundredths. 3 thousands plus 0 thousand is 3 thousands, and 1 10,000ths plus nothing is 1 10,000ths. Our answer is 13,728. Now let's divide using base 10 models. We have 615 divided by 6. We're going to start with our outline. We're going to put our dividend, which is 615, inside, and then 6, which is our divisor, on the outside. Here, we're going to start by looking at the hundreds place because that's our biggest place value. We have 6 hundreds blocks, so we're going to draw 6 hundreds blocks. We're dividing by 6, which means we have 6 groups, so we're going to draw 6 groups. We're going to place 100 in each group because we're evenly distributing the hundreds blocks. Here, we're going to start by distributing each one to see how many hundreds we can get into each group. Oh, we're out of hundreds and we were able to put 100 into each group. If you notice, there's 100 in each group, so we're going to be putting 100 on this side. On the right column, this tells us how many objects are in each group. The number here, our dividend, tells us our total number of objects. And the 6 remains the same because this is the total number of groups, which isn't going to change. So 6 times 100 is 600. This is represented in the picture because 600s were used. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. So 6 times 100 in each group represents 600 objects used. When we subtract, we have 15 objects left. So here we have a 1 in the tens place. So we can see we have 110 here, but we can't distribute this 110 between 6 groups evenly. So what we're going to do is rewrite this 110 as 10 ones. Now we're going to also include the 5 ones that we had. So we have a total of 15 ones. Now we can start distributing 1 into each group to see how many ones we can get in all 6 groups. We're going to put 1 into each group here. And now we can see that we have 1 in each group and we have 9 ones left over. Well, 9 ones left over, we can put at least 1 more 1 into each group. So let's do that now. Now we have 2 ones in each group. We have 3 ones left over, but 3 ones, we don't have enough ones to distribute evenly into 6 groups. So we're going to pause here. We're going to see how many ones we distributed in each group. 1, 2. Each group has 2 ones. So we're going to put a 2 in this right side Because remember, the numbers over here represent how many objects are in each group. Here we have 100 and two ones in each group. 6 times 2 is 12, which is represented by the 12 ones that we brought over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 ones. So we're going to be subtracting those 12 ones because we've already distributed them. We have 3 ones left over, which is represented here with these 3 ones that are not in a group. Well, already said that these 3 ones we don't have enough of to distribute evenly into 6 groups. So this is going to be our remainder. Remember, when the number down here is less than our divisor, we're done dividing. We can go ahead and add the numbers to the right to see how many objects are in each group. 100 plus 2 is 102. That's represented in each group. 100 plus 2 ones is 102. Now we're going to include the remainder, which is 3. So 615 divided by 6 is 102, remainder 3. Let's now try using partial quotients to divide 3,198 divided by 15. You see we have our outline here. We're going to go ahead and place the dividend inside and the divisor on the outside. Here we have 3 in the thousands place. So we have 3 thousands blocks. We can't distribute 3 thousands blocks between 15 groups evenly, so we're going to be looking at hundreds. In our total number, we have 3,100 hundreds. Well, 3,100 hundreds blocks can be distributed into 15 groups. So we're going to start by multiplying 15 to find our multiples of 15. 15 times 1 is 15, 15 times 2 is 30, and 15 times 3 is 45. Ooh, 45 is too big because we're only looking for 3,100 hundredths. So we're going to be looking at our multiple of 15 times 2, which is 30. But remember, we're not trying to find 31, we're trying to find 3,100 hundredths. So we're not multiplying 15 times 2, we're multiplying 15 times 200. So we're going to put 200 in the right column. 15 times 200 is 3,000. Now we're going to subtract. We have 198 objects left. Here in the hundreds place, we have 100. So that means we have 100th block left. We don't have enough hundreds blocks to evenly distribute into 15 groups. So we're going to look at the tens place. We have 19 tens. Oh, 19 tens rectangles can be distributed into 15 groups, and we can use the multiples of 15 that we've already written. We're trying to find a number that's closest to 19 without going over. That's over here, 15. 15 times 1 is 15. That's as close as we can get to 19 tens without going over. But remember, we're trying to find 19 tens, not 19 ones. So we're going to be multiplying by 15 times 1, 10, which equals 10. So we're putting 10 on this right side. 15 times 10 is 150. Now we're going to subtract 198 minus 150 is 48 objects left over. We have 4 tens rectangles left, but we don't have enough tens rectangles to distribute to 15 groups evenly. So we're going to be looking at the total number of ones that we have. We have 48 ones. Well, 48 ones units can be distributed into 15 groups. We're going to see which multiple of 15 gets as closest to 48 without going over. Here, we added one more multiple of 15 times 4, which is 60. Well, 60 is too big. We want to do 15 times 3, which is 45. So we're going to put a 3 over here in the right column. 15 times 3 is 45. When we subtract, we have 3 left over. 3 is less than our divisor. So we know we're done dividing, and this is going to be our remainder. Now we're going to add all the numbers on the right side. 200 plus 10 plus 3 is 213. Don't forget the remainder. So 3,198 divided by 15 is 213, remainder 3. Now let's do 124 and 6 tenths plus 8 and 32 hundredths. The first step is that we're going to be writing these numbers vertically, which means one on top of the other. So I'm going to use our place value chart. I'm going to insert 124 and 6 tenths, and then 8 and 32 hundredths. Notice that the 4 and the 8 are both in the ones place, which is why they're on top of each other. Another way to figure out if you lined up your numbers correctly is by the decimal point. The decimal point is always between the ones and the tenths place. So as long as these decimal points line up, then you should be good. Now we're going to place a 0 in all blank place values. Here, we have 0 hundredths in our first number, and in our second number, we have 0 tens and 0 hundredths. Now we can start adding the smallest place values first. In this case, that's our hundredths place. 0 hundredths plus 2 hundredths is 2 hundredths. 6 tenths plus 3 tenths is 9 tenths. We're going to insert that decimal point, which is always to the left of the tenths place. Remember, if you need to regroup, you can do that. 4 ones plus 8 ones is 12 ones, which is why the 2 is in the ones place and the 1 is carried to the tens place. 110 plus 2 tens is 3 tens, and 100 plus 0 hundred is 100. So our answer or our sum is 132 and 92 hundredths. All right, let's do one more problem. 43 minus 6 and 245 thousandths. Let's start by writing our problems up vertically, one on top of the other. We're going to use a place value chart to help us out. 43 is 4 tens and 3 ones, and then 6 and 245 thousandths. Now we're going to be putting a 0 in all the blank places. So here, I'm adding a 0 in the first number in the tenths, hundredths, and thousandths place. Notice I also added my decimal here. The decimal is always between the ones and the tenths place. Now we're going to be adding a 0 to the tens place in our second number. Now we're going to start subtracting, starting with the smallest place value. Remember, we can regroup if necessary. So we're going to start with the thousandths place because that's our smallest place value. 0 thousandths minus 5 thousandths. Well, we can't take 5 thousandths away from nothing, so we're going to regroup from the hundredths place, but there's 0 hundredths. So we're going to have to regroup from the tenths place, but there's 0 tenths. So we actually need to regroup all the way from the ones place because there's 3 ones. We're going to regroup one of those ones. We're going to cross this out, and we're going to have 2 ones left over. Remember that 10 tenths equals 1 1. So if we regroup that one, that's the same as having 10 tenths. Now we can regroup one of those tenths and rewrite it as hundredths. 10 hundredths is the same as 1 tenth. So we're going to regroup one of those tenths, so we have 9 tenths left, and rewrite it as 10 hundredths. Now we can rewrite one of those hundredths as thousandths. Well, if we regroup one of those hundredths, we have 9 hundredths left, and there's 10 thousandths that make up 100th. So we're going to rewrite that 100th as 10 thousandths. Now we can subtract the thousandths place. 10 thousandths minus 5 thousandths is 5 thousandths. 9 hundredths minus 4 hundredths is 5 hundredths. 9 tenths minus 2 tenths is 7 tenths. Don't forget that decimal to the left of the tenths place. Now we have 2 ones minus 6 ones. We can't take 6 ones away from 2 ones, so we're going to regroup from the tens place. We're going to regroup 1 10, so we have 3 tens left. And remember, 10 ones makes up 1 10. So we're going to regroup that 1 10 as 10 ones and add it to the 2 ones we already have. So now we have 12 ones. 12 ones minus 6 ones is 6 ones, and 3 tens minus 0 tens is 3 tens. Our difference, or